Just waiting for that to come through. There we go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, lovely people. I am really excited to bring this amazing young lady next to me live to you. Her name is Marie-Ève Mongrain. Do I pronounce it correctly? Yes.
Very close. Yes.
Okay, close enough. And a lovely friend of ours has actually connected us through LinkedIn, Jared Bull. Thank you so much for putting us in touch. And we had a bit of a pre-chat and I was just blown away by your energy. I really said straight away, like, I want to bring you to our audience because you've got a really beautiful story to tell. I'm not going to take anything away from that. I'm going to hand straight over to you. And would you do us the honor to introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and, wanting to connect with me as well. So I know everything is about energy and we were a match today. My name is Marie-Ève, and if you want to pronounce it in French, it's Marie-Ève. Marie-Ève Mongrain. Yes, Marie-Ève. I'm going to teach you French. Marie-Ève. Sounds so romantic. I am 36 years old and I live in Quebec, Canada. So across the ocean.
I'm just looking down quickly because I want to see. I always have the live video here on our, there we go, just so I can see if there's anybody having any questions. There you go.
Oh,
sorry for the interruption.
No
Hey,
no worries. And so I am a mother of two little girls. And the reason I'm here is because my husband passed away in 2017 of cancer. And so I've had a major loss at 32 years old. And my mindset was very strong when he had cancer. At first, it was a stage 3 rhabdomyosarcoma that started in his butt. And then he lasted 14 months, just like the statistic predicted. But then after that, I had an awakening and love attraction came into my life. And since then, I've learned so much and I became a life coach.
Incredible. I'm just so blown away when I meet other people that have gone through major adversity and turned it into some golden nuggets that are now literally spreading into this beautiful world. And, to turn adversity into inspiration is really incredible. So I want to salute you for that straight up front. And also your kids are super little, very young. They're 5 and 7. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So they were even a baby. They were babies when your husband passed.
Yes.
My
youngest was 6 months.
Yeah. Incredible. I just really, I have got so much respect for what you did because my boys were 10 and 8 when Rob passed. Not here to compare, yet I can imagine what it means when you have 2 babies, it's just really incredible what you've done and also the inspiration that you're spreading now. So I want to start with your kids first, if that's okay. How are they doing and how do you keep that image, that memory, that beautiful person, their dad, alive for them? What do you do about that and how do they deal with it? Because obviously kids deal with it very different compared to adults.
Yes. And the one thing I can say, I was very blessed, and I don't know if I was blessed or not, but I choose to create my reality. So I will manifest.
I love it.
Blessed,
love it.
Right?
My life. I choose to create my reality.
Yes.
Love it.
They were babies, so they don't really have memories. They don't really remember. Even though the body remembers, right? So I'm not taking that away from them. So it was actually, for me, it was really easy. I was in my masculine energy of doing. So I was the pillar in the family. He got sick and we even had talked about it. It's a good thing that's him, because if it was me, I was not working. So I would not have had a salary. And if it was a kid, oh my God, I would have been horrible. So we were we're doing all we can. And he had a mindset. He said, I don't have control. I have cancer. I don't have control. I'm going to die or might die, because we weren't sure, but I have control my attitude and I choose to be happy. And I mean, when you live with a husband,
this is so incredible.
When you live with a husband who has that mindset, it's just energetic wise, he was strong. He's the one sick and he's the one smiling all the time. And he was just so happy. So I said, you know what? We don't know how long you're going to live. You can live 1 month, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years. You actually might not die of cancer. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, right? So he has a timeline, but we all have a timeline that we don't know. So let's just enjoy every single moment. And we made it every single day was filled with lots of fun stuff. So when he passed away, I was actually not relieved, but I was at peace. Like the worst part was when he actually was told he had 4% chances of surviving 5 years. That was a crushing day. But when he passed, I was so at peace, and I was so like I had been doing everything by myself for the past 3 weeks for sure. But since his capacities were diminishing every month, I was doing everything. I was cleaning, cooking, doing all the chores, doing the finances, taking care of the kids, because I was breastfeeding. 2 babies. Yeah, I had a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old.
I'm just saying, you actually gave birth to your baby during your husband being sick. So it's not just that you had 2 babies, you actually, gave birth to a baby and, then had to look after 2 babies as well. So it's incredible.
Actually, I learned I was pregnant 5 days before we learned he had cancer. So like, I cannot, like, the universe is just so well timed. Yeah. And it was meant to happen. And it's just so good. So what I did, I'm like, well, I don't have control. I'm a widow. I'm super good. And I was super organized. I was like, really, my masculine energy was like at the top. I was performant. Everything was organized in my house. Like we moved to Quebec from Ontario. And I was like the mom of the year. I used to be a teacher. I'm a certified teacher. I used to be a teacher. Like, so I used to use all, like, everything was awesome. I'm like, I'm the mom I want to be. And I had money because when he passed away, I got a pretty big amount of money. So that relief, right there, was very a blessing too.
That is such a blessing.
End, it was a blessing, but at the same time, a curse, because all the insecurities about money, all the lack mindset came up. So that comes later.
Wow. I can't wait to hear about that. It's such a big topic. I'm so glad that you're mentioning that. While I just interrupted you anyway, I just want to share something with you, because you just got this most beautiful quote here. I love how Marie-Ève describes her husband's positive attitude. I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you, Bella, for watching. It's just incredible. It is so incredible to have somebody going through that, having such a positive attitude. But I want to hand back to you. So it's having, I really want to talk about this, having this as a blessing and a curse, the financial freedom. Do you want to dive into that now, or did you want to finish something else off? Because I didn't want to interrupt you there.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But I do believe like people will, whatever comes out is what people need, right? I do believe we channel. We're channeling what the energies, and there's part of my story that are more important to others. And I'm so okay with talking about it. So like, even if you interrupt, I wanted a sip of water anyway. So thank you. Like, do not be shy of going in, because that means something's happening. So in the end, like, okay, right, I got like 6 digit. Like, I'm not gonna lie about it, 6 digits, and never had that much money. And I had fun. I'm like, oh my God, yes, like, it's, to see that check is a pretty good feeling. And so I will not lie, and I'm sorry for those who did not get that. But honestly, it was like so good relief. We already had planned that, right? Said, well, for the next 5 years, if anybody was gonna or add something, we were planning, if anything happened, 5 years to take care of ourselves. And so what happened is like, okay, that works. But I had so many fears, right? I got that money, but I'm only a teacher. So what, like, in my head, like even subconscious, what am I gonna do once that money is out? Because what I did is I put in investment. But since I was not working and was a stay-at-home mom, that was my income. So my capital was going down.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, it's good. Like, you can see it. And then at one point, it's like, well, I never had, like, not real furniture, but I had used furniture in the past. And at one point, I had a used washer and dryer. I'm like, it's not washing well. Maybe you could get a new one, right? It's like, but it costs money. Well, you do have money. So how about you spoil yourself and get the one of your dream on a pedestal? Yeah. So I got my dream washer dryer with the pedestal under. And it was like, oh my God. I used to sleep, like, we used to have our bed frame used to be a 2x4 and plywood base. So now, like, here I am starting, and I was living in our house that we had built that was supposed to be for sale. And it was like a 4,000 square feet house. It was huge, like coming from a tiny house and a tiny condo in Toronto to a huge house. Then after that, it's like, oh, well, I could get a new fridge and I know get something. So I started changing a couple of my furniture just to update to who I am. And
that's so beautiful. It's so powerful.
Because at one point, right, like, it was not me. Yeah, it was useful, But now it's like, I want something pretty and I want something that resemble me. So I would just get one thing at a time, and then like, oh, a little bit more, oh, a little bit more. And at one point I'm like, my God, like I was changing, because at that time I was, it was not going super well. Like, mentally, I was being gaslighted. And I fell in love at one point. So I was like, people might think I'm suicidal. Here I am spending a bunch of money on stuff, but I was not used to it. And it's so weird. So now I discovered, I'm a member of Mind Valley. I don't know if you know what Mind Valley is.
Yes. If anybody doesn't know, just post below, because it's just such a beautiful community, and everything is around mindset. There are different speakers, different modalities, meditations, etc. So videos, movies. It's really, really incredible. It's a huge community. So if you're not aware of it, just Google Mind Valley. It's so incredible. So yeah, you became a member of that.
It was very useful, because how I got in was from I don't remember it. Through energy, I saw a video on Facebook, got in. Then there was a course that was called EQ, Money EQ, with Scott Mills and Ken Honda, which is like Japanese, like multi bestsellers. And through that course, I met Dr. Scott Mills at the LA event. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, we're starting the event and the course. So I stayed connected with the guy. And then in the end, I went to one of his, like, he had a little workshop. And through that, like, I work on like the money. It's like money goes in and out, just like you're breathing. Because I was so afraid. I discovered that money is energy. And then Marissa Pierce, she's like, but you know what? It's like money, since money is energy, you say at the end of I'm afraid I won't have enough energy at the end of the month. And it's like, no. Well, when you say I'm afraid I won't have enough money till the end of the month, it's the same thing, because so it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, oh my God. And like stopping to be afraid of, this is just what I see, but actually money is going to flow in wherever it can, but only if you're in the receiving mode. But from
I love that you say that, that you have that comparison, or you learned that comparison about money and the breath, because the thing is, when we take a deep breath in, it feels so good, but we can't hold on to it. We cannot hold on to it. It's literally, if we were to hold on to it and just live off that, what we've got in our lungs, we would literally poison ourselves. Isn't that incredible when you think about that comparison with money? So you have to breathe out to be able to breathe in again. And when you really think of that as as a coming and going, as an ebb and flow, as a breathing in and breathing out, as energy being here and being there, it's just so beautiful to actually normalize money, because so many of us watching this here, including myself, I had my own money story and I thought I had healed it, and then it came very similar to you, with the life insurance, paying off the house, doing all the maintenance stuff. I have so many parallels to you. It's ridiculous. I wasn't even aware of that when we chatted, how many more parallels there are. And money story came back to me. And it will come back. And I'm telling everyone listening to this right now, because I think it's a very important thing to understand, that there are things where we believe, childhood stuff, money stories, no matter what it is, we come to a point where we're like, but I thought I healed this, but I thought I dealt with that. And you have. It doesn't mean that you haven't. It's just a next level thing. And with every next level, you'll become better and better and better. And then there's the next money story that triggers you. There'll be another money story when you hit the 7-figure, the 8-figure, whatever. And it doesn't matter what point you reach in your life, you will revisit that lesson, only that you'll know how to deal with it, because you'll remember the tools and the ways how you dealt with it so much easier. So I love that you share that, Marie-Ève, because it's such a valid point. We all have things to deal with, and it comes back to the attitude. It depends on how we deal with it, and allowing it in is amazing. So yeah.
And even
so how did you deal?
I had so I'm just gonna go quickly. I had like that kind of money, but my house was not paid off. Yeah. Because what we had done is like we had that much money, like we had three properties, and said, well, at least it's gonna cover rent, like whatever we can sell. And so my house was still like, I had this money, but I still had lots of debt. I could have just used all that money to pay everything. But then I would not have had much to actually live, right? So I always had this, but I always had the heavy weight of those houses. And one of my house, actually, you know, had water damages, and it's that built in. There was foundation problems, after problems, like, oh my God, like it would have costed everything. Like I had almost 300. I actually lost money on selling the house. Like I had to sell it under price because it was not sellable. But what happened is, by discovering this, I'm like, there was so much weight on my shoulder. Like I need to find something to be able to trust in life again, to be able to trust that this is just, you know, now that, you know, the reality is like, how can I feel good with what's going on around me, right? And just feel, not with what's happening, but knowing that what's happening right now is just a past vibration. It's a manifestation of a past vibration and a past belief I had. So that finding faith in the universe and in God has definitely helped me. It was more the universe and God. But again, for the money, the breathing and out, I used to be a big giver. I'm still a giver. I give, but I was not able to receive. I was like that. And I know a lot of people out there, and we can all raise our hand, that receiving is very uncomfortable. For me,
I had to learn
always
it. I had to learn it big time. Yeah.
And when being a giver, like, oh, the idea is that when I give you something, I feel good, right? It's like, oh, I'm pleasing you. Like, here, I love you so much, I'm giving you something, so I feel good. But when somebody wants to give me and I say no, thank you, I'm actually stopping them from living the joy of
feeling
giving.
good. Yeah.
I'm stopping them from feeling good. So by being
I
able
love
to
that
receive,
you bring that up. It is so important. Love it.
By being able to receive, I'm actually giving them joy. Right? So
you're allowing them to feel good. It's so incredible. Yeah.
So if you guys out there want to be a giver, receive, because then you're giving the joy to the other person. I'm still learning that, right? Because I had beliefs about I owe someone something. And at that time, like, because I was so tired, I went like, you know, very deep, very low, energetic and mindset, like getting up out of bed. I had to say, I made myself a list, like brush your teeth, do your bed, and I was able to go back to bed, right? Like just to say I did something. I would bring my girls, like make them food, bring them to school or daycare, and go back to bed. There were many days like that. And so now, like, saying, okay, why, like, to know I'm worthy even though I'm sleeping in and even though I can't do anything. But everything was kind of related, because money is just a circumstance. And what I've learned, because when I did my certification in neurosciences and in law of attraction, so I have a applied neurosciences background and a freedom formula. We work with the emotions, but that means every circumstance, that it's financial, romantic, family, relationship, all comes down to the emotion. How does this make you feel? Because money, we transpose our fear on money. People, we transpose our fear and our wounds onto them. So if something happens, like, everything is neutral. How do I see it? Good or bad? That depends on what lens I use.
Yeah, absolutely. Marie-Ève, if it's okay with you, I would like to actually take you back to a very, very pivotal moment in your life. And I would really love for you to share a little bit more about that, because there are a lot of people watching here in this group, and probably also outside of this group, that still struggle with that concept of, okay, my husband passed, and how do I actually move on or move forward? There is such fine-tuning around the wording. I'm not a big fan of moving on. I'm a big fan of moving forward. That's my wording that I choose, but everybody needs to find what feels right for them. However, when your husband passed, so obviously you had time to prepare, yet I always feel like no matter how much time you have to prepare, when somebody passes, it still hits you, it still is, and now is the day, and you're never, ever really prepared for it, no matter how much you prepare. Do you agree with that, or was it different for you? How did you feel?
The thing is, my mom passed away 5 years. My mom passed away 5 years prior. So I was there in her last week. And at that time, I had no clue. Like, I thought, like, oh my God, she's in pain. Like, I was so powerless. Like, I wanted, like, oh, she's back on. Like, she's back awake. Like, wanted to please her before she died. Like, I wanted to make sure, like, she didn't want to, because she was suffering a lot. The lucky thing is, my husband, he didn't suffer, but I didn't see him suffer as much as my mom. So he had amazing care, but her, it was not the same. So by seeing her go through the stages of our final moments, for my husband, I was so at peace. Like for the past 3 weeks I was at the hospital, I was so at peace. I'm like, okay, I know it's coming. We know it's coming, right? There's something I can do. So what can I do? I can be an observer. And I was finding amazement in the body, because even though his body was like crippled with cancer, like at one point when every chemo stopped and everything, you could see bumps popping up like popcorn all over his body. Like I was like, wow. And I love the body and I love the mind. And he would like, so I would have my notepad with me. And when he was like in his stage, like semi, like not coma, but like asleep, but he would still do movements, like doing something like this. And I would ask him questions like, do you know you were doing this? And can you tell me more about it? Right. I was a little curious about the other side, about the spirituals, like the more on the other side. And he's like, yeah, it's like it's the same room, but the walls are pink and my table is here. And I was trying to grab my cup. Oh my God. Like I was like, this is so amazing. Right. And I found awe in everything, even though it was like horrible. I can say horrible, but I decided to look at the body like, it is wonderful, even though like the body is trying to protect itself, like how it was destructing itself, but like just how everything was good. And but the hospital was amazing. The care we had, I was just so at peace. And at first, the first week he got in the hospital, in the last 3 weeks he went by ambulance because he had a new tumor in his spine. So he was so in pain, and he was in a new hospital because where at the cancer center where he was, they didn't have an emergency. So but the first week they stopped all his meds, everything. But the other hospital, they said, well, the long term, this is a 12-hour acting whatever medicine. This is the short term. And so this is for the pain. We don't run after the pain anymore. But that hospital, they cut off everything and they were just running after the pain. And I was so like distressed, like, you're leaving him in pain. And so I did everything I could to send him back to the other hospital. So when he got there, I said, if he dies, at least I'm okay because I know he's in good hands. Right. At the other hospital, I did not feel right. I was leaving at night crying.
I love, can I just say, this is, so many people have this, call it gut instinct, call it intuition, call it, following your inner voice. And not many people have got the courage to stand up for it, and in particular, when it comes to dealing with authorities, and I put that under quotation marks because it's what we perceive as authorities. And they're not just that, they're also human beings. It's hard to see that. And sometimes we get quite intimidated when it comes to dealing with doctors or nurses, and they're supposed to know, and how am I supposed to stand up for that and say, no, my husband needs something different. Yet you trusted your gut instinct, you followed your gut instinct, your intuition, knowing that you had to bring him back to the other hospital. And that is really incredible. So kudos to you. Thank you. It's just an encouragement for others listening here to do that.
And if that's
more.
One thing I can say, even as a life coach now, right? We used, and I'm sure this is kind of, no, I know it was his time, but his story can show that you are your own authority in your life. And since everything is, we create our reality, once you decide that you're your own validation, because cancer and any diseases and any physical symptom is an emotion that has been repressed. That's what I've learned. And that's what's been time and time been validated with other people. And once you decide you want to live, you will attract the doctor, you will attract the test results, because the universe will say, oh, they're committed to living, so let's give them evidence that they're going to live. But you have to decide, because even 4% chances of surviving does not mean you're going to die unless you decide that this is what the meaning you're giving it to them, right? Law of assumption will give you what you believe in. So may as well believe of the best no matter what. And after
I can see all the love hearts flying up. People love what you're saying.
Thank you. And after his passing, I found someone
on the computer.
I found someone in LA when I went to a Mind Valley conference, where the guy 25 years ago said, yeah, I was terminal with brain, lungs, and liver cancer. And the doctor said there was nothing to do. And I said, I refuse. And that was 25 years ago. He got rid of his cancer, and that's it. So I do believe now, and I got evidence of that by, when you change your belief, you're going to attract new people with new stories that will prove you. So now I know that. So you are your own, you have to validate yourself. Even the doctors, the government, the police is only acting on how you treat yourself. And everything is a mirror. And I know it's not about grief, but if there's something people need to leave, that I want them to leave today, is people will treat you the way you believe you should be treated. So the relationship with you and your higher self is going to be mirrored in all of your relationship.
Isn't
and
incredible?
That means if you
Absolutely
believe that you want to give yourself a consequence, the police will give you a ticket. If you believe you're going to be like anything that if you believe you need to be punished, someone, oh, my daughter. Oh, no, please,
hi.
You don't have a shirt? You don't have a shirt?
You can't be topless on my interview. I'm just kidding. At that age, you're allowed to.
Okay. Go in there. Thank you.
Marie-Ève, I just want to ask you something. I love what happens. It's live. Bring it in. It's absolutely fine.
Please.
I know that this is a super confronting question for a lot of people. And I also know that you are somebody that I can just ask that, it's fine. It's fine. And what came to mind when I was listening to you, when you talk about, this person that you met that had 3 terminal ill cancer diagnoses and is still living 25 years later, what instantly came up for me is this beautiful lady that I'm sure that you know of as well, Anita Moriani, and she wrote the book Dying to Be Me. I recommend this book very often in my group, and the reason why I recommend it is it sounds really cruel when I say it, but I'm just going to say it as it is, okay? So not to rub it in for people who have lost loved ones to cancer, like you, like a lot of people that I can think of right now. And I also know of one lady, I don't want to mention her by name now, but she knows exactly who she is when she's listening to this, that has lost a loved one to cancer, and she was in one of my programs and we talk about the book, and I knew it was very, very confronting for her. But I also truly believe that we come to various lessons in life. Sometimes they're very harsh, very confronting, but they do come with love. I'm an absolute believer that every lesson comes wrapped in love, even if it sometimes feels quite harsh at the time. So my confronting question to you is, when you do the work that you do now and you meet people like, 25 years later, they're still alive and they fought it because they just did not accept that. And we realize how much emotional baggage contributes to cancer. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a very big believer in that. I watched my dad pass from cancer, and I know there was a lot of emotional baggage that he had dealt with. And I've got a very close friend going through cancer at the moment that we are all fighting for and rooting for that she will pull through this. And I talked to her about that book before she left. She left to get more treatment. So it was that whole idea of, have you looked at that? And I'm really glad that we had this conversation because it really opened something up for her. So here comes a confronting question. How do you deal with that? Doing what you do now, knowing what you know now, living and breathing it and sharing it with the world. And then going back to, do you ever have this, I wish I would have known that when my husband was going through that, could I have saved him, what if? I don't think you are, because you're not built like that, but I'd like to hear your answer. So how did you deal with going through that?
I don't, but I did. Oh my God, when I discovered law of attraction.
I do. I was like, no, I don't. I love it.
But a lot less. But I'm like, now I know things. I had to go through this to see like the link between this and that, so that when I had my awakening, like my mindset was there, but the action didn't match. But yes. Actually, I didn't know that lady that you mentioned until we talked last time, right? And I was like, really? Oh my God, amazing! I didn't know. Yeah. And that story, now I'm like, I know it, and because I was always afraid I didn't have power on my life, right? If you're afraid somebody can just stab you and die, then you're like, no, anybody can hurt me. But that story of that lady that her grandfather said, you get to go back, and I don't want to. She chose to come back and got rid of her cancer in 6 weeks. For me, I was like, oh my God, even for my own fears, right, of my own life, that was like example and evidence of I get to do this, and I get to use this example to anybody else that says I'm afraid, or like this person has cancer, like, you know what, now all these examples, yes, as much as they bring me of like, oh my God, you still chose not to come back, right? If he went out there and my mom was there, said you get back there, and he still chose not to, I was like, you still didn't choose me and my daughter. You still didn't choose this life. But then if they all know, right? If they're all knowing, after crying for that, I was like, but he knew that not coming back was the best thing for me, for my dreams. I'm having
goosebumps. Oh my God.
For the world, because if he would have come back, I would not have learned all of this and be sharing this with the world and living my dreams, I'm going to Times Square. Like I have my billboard in Times Square in New York on Easter. Like I'm being seen. I'm sharing, like, it's, so I know life happens for me, and that's what I learned is life happens for us. So I said, okay, well, if he died, life happened for me. But there was a lot of anger, like, you didn't choose me, right? But at the same time, when I learned that the world is a mirror, I was choosing him instead of me. I was loving him instead of me. I was not loving myself then. Because I was honest with myself, like, he was not the guy of my dream. Physically was not, it was not romantic, like it was not the guy of my dreams. So I said, as much as it's it's painful to admit, I'm okay, right? Like I'm okay. It's still a little weird to say it, but there was a lot of judgment. So, you know, I get money, I'm happy, but my husband died. So it's not happy money, it's sad money. So every time I would, like, it's not even every time I spend, it's just, that would be sad. It was just all of this. But knowing people alive, when people tell me, I'm still alive from cancer, I'm like, I knew it. And I get excited for them to be alive, because they're proving what I believe now. Right? Instead of being sad, oh, my husband, like, I did have those moments, oh, he didn't choose that. Like, we could, if I known that before, I wanted to be a savior. I wanted to save everyone when I learned about law of attraction. Now, let me save you, let me save you.
Of course,
Like,
it's incredible. Like when we get into this mindset, and then we literally want to save the world and heal. Like my biggest mission is to heal the world from grief, because I know how I dealt with it and how it changed everything for me. And it always comes back to, like, one of my very first mentors actually said to me, every change is a change in meaning. And, you know, like, same thing. Is it sad money? Is it happy money? Is money even happy or sad? It's the meaning that we give it, really, you know, like, we can turn it around.
But the difference is, like, happy money would be, I'm happy I got it, but, like, loving. But sad money would be you going to work and, you know, not, like, hating your work, but getting money. Like, the energy is not in alignment, right? Money
I totally
fun.
get it.
Money,
yet I still believe that
freedom.
We can change the meaning of it, even despite your husband died for it, or despite I didn't like the work. Yet we can still change the meaning of the money coming through. You know, we don't have to attach it to that. You know, it's us doing that. It's us giving it the meaning. And with that being said, I'd really love to let you talk about and let you share about this enlightenment, the epiphany that you had. Can you talk us through that? Because that's incredible.
So grief, and first of all, I just want to say, you mentioned you want to heal the world, but if we heal ourselves from within, our energy heals the outside. So as within, so without, right? So if you heal your grief within, you don't even need to share your words. Everybody's grief gets healed. So I just want to mention that, because that's one thing about, you know, about energies I love and I believe so much. How I discovered my awakening, because I didn't know about love attraction before. And I mean, in grief, I didn't know I wanted to be the best griever. I'm like, I'm gonna show them all off. Like, I'm gonna be the best one, right? So I had taken courses. I wanted to be a speaker, and I was getting out of my comfort zone. Like, my motto was being comfortable in the uncomfortable. So I got to the restaurant one night. I didn't have my girls. I do date night myself, because it's amazing. So anybody who's grieving, get the chance to go do something. I went to see Justin Bieber and Mariana's Trench last week, right? It was amazing. I'm going to see Imagine Dragon in May. I'm like, awesome. Now I'm like spoiling myself. But Good do it. You. Go eat at the restaurant. And so I went to the restaurant, and the waiter was my type. Definitely my type. The voice, oh my God. Like, honestly, I'm like, oh my God, I'm melting. I even told him, like, it feels like, it sounds like you're reciting to me a poem. And he was just telling me the menu of the day, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I want to leave him my phone number. Like, we had such a good time. And I'm like, I want to leave him my phone number, which I don't do. I used to be a shy girl who never, like, who would not show that I'm interested into you. Oh my God, I used to have pimples and glasses, and I never had a boyfriend in high school. I had very little friends. I was volunteering and working at the cafeteria because I was alone. I was lonely, not a loner. I was lonely and rejected. Self-confidence was as a low. Yeah, I know. It was like, now I'm like, I hate it. I did not like myself. Like, and so this guy, I'm like, okay, I can't live with my phone number. He's so hot, you know, not seeing my own worth myself. He's so hot. He must have a girlfriend. And then I'm not kidding you, 10 seconds later, it was at the table behind me, and it's like, yeah, I'm moving to Montreal. I don't have a girlfriend or parents or family in the area. I was like, wait a second. I just, in my head, I said, I can't do it because he must have a girlfriend. And boom, the answer is right there. He doesn't have one.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw like ask and receive.
Yeah.
The universe is always responding on, you just need to be able to listen. And so, well, I'm like, well, what's your reason now? I guess I'll leave it now because there's no other reason I would not. So I left my phone number and kind of ran out the door. Didn't see him. He messaged me back the week after saying, you know, he was busy, like he was moving away, but he still messaged me back. I was like, wait, what? Why did you keep my phone number? Anyway, over a month and a half, we chatted every day. We went on 5 dates. Anyway, to me, they were dates. I don't know for him, but I'm gonna go with my perspective. They were dates. I was super excited. And then at one point, he didn't mention he didn't want children. And so that one night I was like, my intention at first was being romantic. So I attracted romantic, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was not sure. So I also attracted a lot of red flags. But I was so into him. Like, and I said, he doesn't want children. We'll just stay friends. I didn't say that. That was after our date. The next morning, I received a message from him saying, oh, you're too maternal. I feel too maternal by you. We'll just stay friends. And I was like, okay. You know, I wasn't sure where we were. So I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a second. You didn't want a family in general. Did you want to just sleep with me? Because I'm like super blind. Like you could tell me, you have to tell me if you want to date me. Because my mind is like, is that yes or is that a no? Right? Any overthinker over here? Because
no.
No? Why is she talking to me right now? But and in grief, especially if you've been manipulated, like emotionally manipulated, and gaslighted, you don't know if people mean what they say or whatever, right? So your mind is always trying to figure out what it means, no matter what. So that's why it's. And so after that, I'm like, why does he said, I just want to be your friend. I'm like, why? And then this actually, it's like, it didn't even know, like, but it just, I didn't know my worth, and he triggered him kind of rejecting me, like just saying no. It triggered all my insecurities, all my past wounds, all my traumas.
I can only imagine.
Oh my God, like why? Like I know I was awesome. I got all this achievement and I'm this awesome person, but oh my God, it triggered all of that. Oh, that was gross. Like after, like, and so I kind of went into masculine chasing energy. But I'm the girl of your dream. And I proved myself to be the girl of his dream. I was like afraid at that time. I was afraid of my own value. I thought I was a burden. I thought that if I said something, somebody could actually commit suicide from me saying the wrong thing. And so it was like very heavy. Like my grief was not grieving my husband, was grieving my childhood. Like, seeing how my parents were not like, they were actually, you know, emotionally abusive. No, not abusive, but you know, and negligent. And I was like, oh my God, this is why I'm like this. I'm a trauma response walking on 2 legs, right? So I didn't even know who I was. At one point, I felt like I didn't even know what was my worth as my kid's mom. Like the grandmother is more loving. Why me, right? And so actually I thought this guy was my twin flame. I discovered later on, like, oh, twin flame. Well, that makes sense. That explains all that happened there. And so I went into healing because at one point I had pain on my shoulder and massage didn't work. Chiro didn't work, like physio didn't work. So I went to Sin Energy healer. I said, let's try it. Let's just give it a try. And then she had this calendar of Abraham Hicks. And I read it. I'm like, that's beautiful. Yeah, I feel that. And so I went on YouTube, listened to Abraham Hicks, and that is like,
She's
oh my
incredible.
God, I create my reality. Oh my God. But when you discover you create your reality, you create the good, but you create the bad. I'm sitting bad as quotation mark because, you know, it's how I see it. It's not bad, but at that time it sounded like, my God, I created my husband dying. That killed my husband, right? And all the fear. I was afraid that if I wasn't there, something bad would happen. And actually it happened. And so when you go down, like seeing your whole world, the way you saw reality shattered. Yeah. It was horrible. But then through that and finding, self-love, the world is only a reflection of how I feel about myself. And I always had the motivation of being a speaker. And then I became a life coach and doing life coaching. I learned techniques, but I also, it was for my own healing.
Mm.
that I wanted to share with everyone after. I'm like, oh my God, I need to share with everyone what I know, right?
Yeah.
But in
I
finding
just want to
self-love.
say I'm just completely blown away like this entire time, and I just realized we are 10 minutes over our time already.
Oh.
Doesn't matter. I just want to say thank you everyone for being so patient and staying on, because I could sit here and listen to you forever. Like seriously, I am going to rewatch this because I feel like every line you throw out is a golden nugget in itself. I want to put this on slow motion because there's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is so amazing, this is so amazing. But my absolute favorite line out of all of that, and it's been like that golden thread throughout the entire conversation with you, Marie-Ève, is we create our own reality. It is so powerful once we understand that. And for anyone not ever having heard about Abraham Hicks, there's a lady, beautiful, beautiful lady. Her name is Esther Hicks, and she's channeling Abraham. And she's coming out with these amazing, amazing golden nuggets. So if you have never heard of that, please, please, please. That's why I refer to Abraham Hicks as her, because it's a lady channeling Abraham. So please look into it. It's incredible wisdom right there. And Marie-Ève, we had in our pre-chat, we'll invite you to come into the group and to get back to any comments, to share links, how we can actually get in touch with you, because I believe that you are a wealth of wisdom and love. Thank you so much for being here. I feel so honored to have had you on the show here. And who knows, we might get you back for another interview, because there is so much still. Where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we're already out of time and we still haven't even, there's so much more to come. I'm absolutely certain, if it's okay with you, to bring you back and share a little bit more about your story and about your insights. I'm just so blessed that we are connected. So thanks again, Tara, for connecting us. Thank you, Marie-Ève, for being here today. And yes, Marie-Ève will share her links, how you can connect with her, in the comments below this interview. So thank you. And I will hand over to you for any final words. I'll let you wrap up our session today. If there's anything else that you would like to share with our audience today, I'll give you another minute, because I really want you to wrap this up.
Thank you. I will give you my website right now, so you don't have to wait.
Please.
My website is Marie-EveMongrain.com. And I got my podcast with Jim Nicolini and myself. So I do talk about how I manifest things in my life, and how I create, and what I use and how I use it in my life. And there's a seminar too that I teach about love attraction on there. And I give you the tools that I use in my coaching, so that you don't need a coach, right? So I do give that. And it's on there. It's called Freedom Formula. And it's from Nick Bro, which he's a big fan of Abraham Hicks. So it's kind of a continuation of that I work with. And one thing I like to say is that may your reality be as awesome as you are.
Thank you so much. This is such a beautiful wrap up. And with that being said, everyone, have a beautiful evening or night or morning, wherever you are in this world. And this is Marie-Ève and Marie signing off. Bye for now. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.